Hello and welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. It is Friday, the 15th of December, 2023, and I think this might be our final kind of normalish podcast of the year.
Normalish.
Normalish. I wouldn't go as far as to
I
call
don't think
this
any of them are normal.
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, because, we will talk about what we're going to be planning to do for the next couple of weeks, but I think, the next two, the 22nd and the 29th, are going to be a little bit special. The end-of-year specials, which are always fun to record and put out there. And also we record them a little bit earlier, so we get to have a bit of a rest.
Nice. That is needed.
It is. So, this will be the last one. How have you been? How was the year for you?
Who are you?
Or do I have to introduce myself?
Well, we usually do.
Okay, well, I'm Ben. You can call me Ben. And I'm joined by...
Ed. And you can call me...
Sir. Daddy.
Zaddy.
Oh.
No, you can call me Ed, please. Do not call me Daddy. I'm not that old.
Please call him Daddy.
No,
in the
do
comments,
not.
in the chat.
Absolutely do not.
On Twitter.
No.
But yeah, how have you been? How's your week been?
I am very tired. Today, well,
So it's a
we're
low
recording
energy.
this on Thursday.
How dare you?
But so tomorrow/today is my last day of work for the year.
Me too.
And it is needed. I need a holiday. I need Christmas. I need to drink this tea. I need sleep. I am quite groggy.
I've noticed.
Yeah. I hit my head beforehand. I'm having a bad hair day.
Oh.
I couldn't find a plug and it was literally right in front of me. I'm a bit grumpy this evening. I'm sorry.
That's right. You've got one more day left, and I've got one more day left as well. It's weird because it's a Friday coming up, but don't know any other colleagues who are actually finishing tomorrow. Everybody else is finishing like mid next week or even
really?
near the end of next week. Yeah. I'm finishing way
Actually,
earlier.
most of my colleagues are as well. But I had so much holiday to take because I've taken none. So
Same.
do you know what? Fuck it. I deserve it.
Same.
I'm taking a week.
And I think I get more holiday than you as well. And so I've got quite a few days. I think I took off a load of Friday afternoons, which is a great idea. If anybody's got like loads of holiday they need to use up and work doesn't like demand certain days off or whatever, Friday afternoons, just book a load of them off. It's a great idea.
Yeah, just work part-time.
Exactly. But yeah, welcome. This is Swapping Joysticks, your home of LGBTQIA plus gaming and streaming content with a bit of everything else in between. And it's been quite a year for us. I think we started out... this isn't the end of year podcast.
I was going to say, what are you starting with?
Well, it's been quite a year. We started the year kind of streaming the podcast live on Twitch.
I know. Remember when we did that?
Yeah.
That was a mess.
It wasn't a mess, but it wasn't... it was very much... I mean, the reason why I did it is because I changed it was kind of ruining my stream a little bit, like the flow.
Are you saying that this podcast ruined your stream?
No, but I would be
Did I ruin your stream?
Not you on your own.
Oh.
Just the stuff we're talking about. No, but I used to be streaming a game and then be like, okay, I've got the podcast now, which is a completely different change in pace. And everybody was there for like the game, which people lie. They say, oh no, people are there for you, not the game. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like that, but there are a lot of people that are like, hey, I want to watch this game. And if you start talking to somebody on there for a bit about whatever, they're like, oh no, I want to go and disappear. So it kind of like ruined the flow a little bit. But also I'd always wanted to do it kind of separately and then put it up as a podcast as well as a vodcast. I don't think people call them that anymore, do they?
I hate that word. I've
A
never
vlog?
heard it and I don't like
You
it.
never heard vodcast?
No, I don't like it.
That's true. Have you ever listened to a podcast before?
No. I don't even listen to us.
I gotta say, that is
Talk on
quite
it.
impressive that you never listen to podcasts, but you were in one. You're in two, yeah. Wow, and you've been guesting others as well, but you've never actually listened to one.
No.
Except for the ones that you've been part of, yes?
Of course.
Of course.
I always go back and listen.
Of course.
Yeah, to check I didn't say anything stupid.
Yeah. Oh,
Apart from this one, when I say stupid things all the time.
that's true. But yeah, no, so that's been good. I've really enjoyed the change, and also like getting the end of year reviews from Spotify. Like just Spotify alone, it popped up and was like, 105 people are subscribed to you on Spotify. And I was like, what?
Well, should we do our wrap-ups?
Go on then.
Because I guess we're talking end of year, but not game of the year.
Yeah, game of the year. But let's just very quickly, before we go into our wrap-ups, our next podcast, the one next week will be the Swapping Joysticks Awards, which involve us talking about and giving out awards for various games, such as, in fact, we have the list here. Let me go and quickly tell you what they are going to be. We will have Hottest Mess, Most disappointing game, best new IP, catchiest song, best boss fight, sexiest voice, best old game, best remaster, best community streaming game. Then there will be the community game of the year, which we'll be planning in the next week or so, where everybody in the chat will be able to vote for their game of the year. And then the following week will be our top 10, our game of the year special.
Yes. So the best community streaming game is kind of like your favorite game as a community to watch and or stream.
Yeah, it'll be
so
one,
it's like the sort of the one that's most fun to stream, as
one,
opposed to the community game of the year, which is just collectively what your game of the year is.
Exactly. Yeah, the best community streaming game will be like, for you, if you're a streamer, what's the best game that you've enjoyed streaming and you've had like the best experience streaming? And then for those that aren't streamers, what's the kind of game that you like watching?
Yes.
Is it Palia? Is it whatever, Coral Island? Is it Party Animals? Is it Fortnite, Minecraft, whatever? They get to choose.
Nice.
Brilliant. But yeah, that will all. So the best community streaming game will be. Yeah, I haven't actually worked out how that final vote. But I think the chat or like people in the chat will decide the final three, and then we decide what the winner is.
Maybe.
Yeah, we haven't quite decided on that one, but the other ones we will decide. The three, and then just debate which one wins.
So that's next week.
That is next week, and then the week after is the Game of the Year podcast, which
is me and you hashing it out.
Oh yeah, on stream, or not on stream, on camera, and they will be premieres. So both of them will go up as premieres on YouTube, as opposed to what was the other thing, rather than just like a straight upload. So because they're premieres, you'll be able to go in the chat, and it obviously will be pre-recorded, but we'll be in the chat talking, and other people hopefully will be as well. And YouTube have just released a thing where in streams you can give out a bundle of 5 memberships to people in the chat. You don't get any money for it, but it's just like, you can give away, I think it's 10 free per month, but you do it in bundles of 5. So if you're in, and you can do it in streams or in premieres. So if you want it's the equivalent of like a Twitch subscription. If you want the equivalent of a YouTube subscription, which is called a membership, then watch the premiere, and at some point I will hand out 5 free ones, and you'll be able to use
there or miss out.
You'll be able to use the emotes, and you get a little badge and all this kind of stuff.
Emotes?
I know it's like $2.99 at the moment, but if I'll give it away to 5 people, and with the amount of people that usually watch like premieres, just if you come along, I'm sure there'll be a good chance that you can get it.
Nice. Well, we'll talk a bit, as we usually do, about what we've been playing this week. But what have we been playing this year?
What have we been playing this year?
Wow.
Oh.
The wrap-up.
Oh, of course, yes, wrap-up, you're saying, yes. I was like, oh, I've lost it.
Memory like a fish. Now, I did not take a screenshot of my Xbox One, which was silly, but I'm pretty sure my number 1 was Citizen Sleeper.
Oh, yeah.
Which was from the very beginning of the year when I just played it solidly and loved it.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush was also up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Persona 4 was up there for me, which is because I wrote a piece on it, which is one of my most read pieces of the year.
Why?
Because people trolled me. But we won't go into that here.
Yes.
What was your Xbox?
My X. I'm trying to find the images. The Xbox One.
I will say Xbox is what I've played the least, and that's not because I don't like Xbox.
You do.
It's not because I'm a Sony pony.
You pay the
or
Xbox,
a Nintendo
the Xbox
shell.
Tax. It's Xbox tax, Ed.
I just don't play it as much because it doesn't have any good games.
Wow. So
it's because I didn't want to play Starfield.
I don't actually know what my top. Oh, I think I remember. Third was Citizen Sleeper.
Was that third for you?
Yeah.
Ah.
But it was like 28 hours, and I'm pretty sure I didn't play for 28 hours. I played it for a day.
Well, mine was also about that.
But we had exactly the same number of hours. So it's weird. Maybe it counted it
It's
for
our
both.
joint game.
It is our joint game for some reason. But it's weird because if we'd both played it accidentally on the same account, then one of us would have had like 28 and the other one would have had 0. But the fact that we both had the same number of hours makes me think that maybe it counts it weirdly on the Xbox or something.
Maybe.
Anyway, my second game was a game that I have streamed quite a bit and I loved. City Skylines 2. I really, really liked that. And I know people are complaining. It's weird because I think the people that loved City Skylines 1 and like were really into it they felt lots of things were missing in City Skylines 2 when that came out. Whereas for me, I didn't really play that much of the original. So going into the second, I was like, this is great. And yeah, there are bugs and stuff, and I'm just hoping that they'll iron those out because, yeah, it's not perfect. But yeah, I liked it. I did really, really good 30-odd hours of it.
Nice.
What was your second one? Wait, you've already explained yours.
But I can't quite remember the order.
My number one game of the year or most played on Xbox was Starfield.
Of course it was.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Nice.
It was good. It'll be in my top 10, I imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fine. I didn't hate it. It was just not as good as it expected. Most disappointing game. Feel free to, we'll maybe talk about it then, but it was disappointing from what you were maybe expecting and what the potential was and what they could have done better, but still had a decent time. I played it to completion. If I finish a game,
that means you liked it.
It means I didn't hate it.
Wow. There you go. I
also apparently played 228 hours on my Xbox this year. But that includes Xbox Game Pass, which would also include Disney's Dreamlight Valley, which I played a bit of as well. I guess that was
true.
fourth. And also Flight Simulator, which I did a few flight sim Jetstreamer streams interviewing people.
Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So on Switch, I played 30 games.
Okay.
For a total of 360 hours.
Yeah.
And it only shows the top 3. In joint second for me, this is weird that it's the same.
Okay.
Weird that it's the same, with 45 hours each, was Octopath Traveler 2 and Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars I finished. Octopath Traveler 2 I did not, but it's a very, very long game. And at some point I'd love to go back to it. And my number one most played this year, which is absolutely no surprise, at 93 hours, is Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely no surprise to me whatsoever. But basically, I'm an RPG nerd from that.
You are, yeah.
Because it doesn't have a list of everything else, but I know that the other games I've played, especially from the pictures across it, were the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. I played quite a bit of Xenoblade Chronicles. Pikmin 4 would have been up there. So, yeah, it was definitely an RPG year for me on Switch.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of stall for a second while I go and get mine because I don't have the exact hours. And I'm interested to see.
Oh, did you not save all the pictures?
Not all of the pictures, no. It's weird, like, I feel Spotify are still unmatched when it comes to, like, how decent their images
They started it.
They started it and they will finish it.
Yeah.
So, my Nintendo year in review, 18 different games.
Okay.
268 hours. The most played, here we go, in third place with 38 hours. Pikmin 4, which I thought would win. In second place with 57 hours, Breath of the Wild, because I did a playthrough on stream at the beginning of this year, and I literally played from very, very beginning to completing every single shrine and Ganon. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me thinking about it. But my number one game was Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I believe, in fact, I'm certain that this was because we went, I believe, to see my parents, or we were away somewhere, and my Switch had left itself on in the dock, because people were going like, why is it saying you're online? And I'm like, I'm not, I'm on holiday, or I'm visiting my parents, and then I came back, and it was lit up in the dock, so for some reason it didn't turn off. And that's why I have
excuse. You've secretly been playing it, haven't you?
To be honest, if I was playing Animal Crossing, I think I'm past the point of kind of trying to shamefully hide that I play that game with my 2,000 odd hours. But yeah, so Animal Crossing, most played month was June. So I think we might have seen my parents. I might have gone somewhere in June, or was it in Barcelona was before then. I don't know. But yeah, so they were my most played games. Yeah, my gaming trends: action, adventure. So these are the 5 trends.
Oh, hang on. Can I find mine?
Yeah, just type in Nintendo in Google and it'll probably come up.
I've still got it open.
So there's, in 5th place, strategy. 4th place, RPG. 2nd, I'll skip 3rd for a second. In 2nd, adventure. 1st, action. But yeah, the 3rd one, socialize with characters.
Is that what Animal Crossing is?
Apparently it is.
It's a socialize with characters game.
Yeah.
That well-known genre.
I like socialize with characters. But yeah, that was mine. And like, yeah, the other games that I played were, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was 20. Oh, that's actually 4th. Tears of the Kingdom, 21 hours.
There you go.
12 hours, Fire Emblem Engage. Final Fantasy Original was 12 because it counts them as separate games. Octopath Traveler 2, I've only played 10 hours of.
Play more. It's good.
Yeah, no, I will. I mean, I'm trying to finish Final Fantasy 7, but yeah, But no, that was quite an interesting one. April was my most played, but I guess that was when I was doing my playthrough of Breath of the Wild.
So, I guess in terms of gaming trends, I'm guessing Tears of the Kingdom counts as an action and adventure game because my number one gaming trend with 32% is action, and my number two with also 32% is adventure, and my number three with 25% is RPG. I've then got strategy at 5%, classic games at 4%, and shooting at 2%, which is probably because I played Metroid.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, what about your PlayStation? So that was Xbox and Nintendo. What about your PlayStation ones? I don't think I saved those, the top 5. I just saw...
Well, if you can only remember a couple, then say.
Yeah, I could... Oh, here they are. Yeah, so Spider-Man.
Oh, sorry. Pikmin 4 was my next at 34 hours. My next was Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online.
Of course.
At 24. Oh, that's because I did Minish Cap and also Metroid, the GBA one.
So I've got my top 4 here. In 4th place was Spider-Man 2, which I still haven't... Yeah, it says 2, and I've got 26 hours.
Okay.
I don't know if I have... Yeah, no, that actually makes sense because I think I did like a 5-hour stream to start with, and then I've restarted it and I've been doing streams, and I think I'm about 15 hours into some kind of. In 3rd place was Diablo, which I wanted to finish. I didn't particularly like it, but I wanted to finish it. I remember sending that picture, or I think Bailey responded to my Instagram post with it on, and was like, "Oh my god, you loved it as well?" And I was like, "No,
nope.
Sorry, I didn't."
Well, I can beat you in a second, but
yeah. In 2nd place, Final Fantasy XVI with 66 hours. And I still haven't platinumed it. In fact, that's going to be a task. Probably early in the new year, I'm going to try and finish that.
Yeah.
I'll get the platinum anyway. And then my number 1 game with 114 hours with 0 trophies that I've earned all year, despite getting 114 hours in, Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh.
The MMO, because that's where I play it now. And
that's true.
But it's quite interesting. Yeah, 0 trophies earned, and it's weird because it comes up on my PlayStation PS5 list. It goes up as Final Fantasy XIV Online Starter Edition, and I showed our friend Luke, who until today has announced works for Final Fantasy XIV for the 14 team on Square Enix. Was like, we can maybe should get a bit better than the Starter Edition. If you want, that's a lot of hours for just the Starter Edition. But obviously, I've been playing Endwalker, but for some reason
that's just what it lists as.
The original one I bought must have been the Starter Edition, and yeah, that's a bit embarrassing. But anyway, go on then, tell us your PlayStation ones.
So, yeah, I haven't saved everything. I've only got the one screenshot of the top 5. So 32 hours is Spider-Man 2. So you don't have too much longer because I got the platinum, so you don't have too much longer.
But we'll talk maybe in a minute about Spider-Man.
36 hours is Bloodborne.
Yes.
Which I streamed a lot of for a lot of this year. So Bloodborne's up there. My number 3 is Liza P. That's 40 hours.
Great game.
Which I'm surprised I played more of that than I did Bloodborne. But actually...
No, you've done more streams of Liza P than Bloodborne, definitely.
Yeah, I guess I did.
And you'll have played a bit off stream as well.
My number 2 game at 49 hours, which was 49 hours of hell, literally and figuratively, is Diablo 4, which I did not enjoy. I enjoyed maybe 48 hours of that. Well, I mean, I'm being facetious. I just didn't like Diablo that much. I played it because it was a big game to play and we wrote loads of news on it, and I thought I should be on top of this game, so I should make an effort to play through it and finish it. And it was such a slog. It was literally like a drug. I'm not enjoying this, but I feel compelled to play it, even though I know it's not very good, but I'm going to play it anyway. And I just kept going, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
I was a little bit like that as well, weirdly, because I finished it, and I don't normally finish games, but because I was just telling you about Starfield, but Starfield, I was interested in the story, and I wanted to see where the story went. I have absolutely no idea what the story was in Diablo.
Kill Lilith. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, and then I killed her.
And people have said to me like, "Oh yeah, the final act's really good, isn't it?" And I'm like, "What the fuck happened in the final act? It was a rush to just get through it and kill Lilith and be like, spoiler, she's the final boss. Kill Lilith. I mean, that's obvious. Kill Mother, and then
Mother.
and then the game ends. I was like, great, I'm free.
And they were
Never
like-
again.
And they're like, oh, then there's the new season coming out and you can play. And I'm like, no, I don't care about playing that ever again.
I've got absolutely no interest in that.
Oh, no, the reason why I finished it, I remember, was because I paid full price for it, including, I got like the deluxe one,
You did, yes.
stupidly.
That was silly.
But, you know, so every now and again, it's nice to buy a game.
Sure. So that was 49 hours, but a number one for me with 99 hours.
Hogwarts Legacy.
No. No surprises here. Final Fantasy 16.
Really?
No, right? Who would have thought?
Ben Starr's Final Fantasy 16.
Ben Starr in Ben Starr stars in Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
99 hours. Yeah, that is my most played game of. Hang on, that was more than Zelda, wasn't it? Because Zelda was 93 hours. So who would have thought that Zelda and Final Fantasy, my favorite series?
Oh yeah, mine.
I've played them both the most.
Final Fantasy 14 will have been my most played game then, over 100 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any. Steam doesn't do one, does it?
Sadly not.
Oh,
Sadly not.
maybe they do, but we haven't seen it. But cool. Well, that was a
Well,
fun year.
speaking of Final Fantasy 16, we should talk about what we've played this week.
Oh, okay.
And I
was about to say, speaking of Spider-Man, we should as well. So
well,
let's start with.
we'll start with Final Fantasy 16,
Just before we go into that, can we address the elephant in the room?
which is what?
I got the camera fixed, so we both have the same skin color,
Do we?
or the realistic skin color anyway.
I was going to say
you're a lot
I'm
paler.
definitely pale as hell.
You are, yeah. But no, it's just it's been a. I'm not going to bore you, but going into camera settings,
Okay, that's enough.
tell us about Final Fantasy 16, because what happened with Final Fantasy 16?
Well,
Because it's the Game Awards.
the Game Awards were last week,
which we
which
did.
obviously we've already talked about, and you should go back and listen to it if you haven't already. And
Well, a lot of people
announced-
did. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for listening. Announced at the Game Awards was 2 pieces of DLC for Final Fantasy 16. The first of which went live immediately.
What?
Called
Dropped it.
Echoes of the Fallen. And that's what I played this week. Which,
Is it a Destiny 2 tie-in?
no, it's not.
Okay. Because the Fallen are an enemy race in there.
Sure. They're also an ancient race in 16.
Oh.
So the second piece is Tides, the Rising Tide, I think it's called, which is, as the name suggests, about Leviathan, who is the water icon. And there's a terrifying looking king thingy with a knife,
Trident.
Tombury,
Oh.
which looks terrifying.
Yeah,
They had
no,
that
I
in the
saw
trailer,
that.
and
They
I was like,
did.
I don't wish to see a realistic looking Tombury.
Is that in the second one? Then, yeah.
That's coming. So the second one I think will be a lot more substantial. It's apparently going to be really difficult, which is good. I'm hopeful that they might add in some new powers for Leviathan, so we'll have a new moveset. I think that'll be really cool. But before then, we've got Echoes of the Fallen. It is very short. It's about 2 hours. So it's not very long. I actually don't want to talk about it too much because I know you want to play it and haven't.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'll play it anytime soon because I kind of want to do Final Fantasy 16 Final Fantasy mode, which is the
Yes.
expert whatever difficulty, and then do it at the end of that.
Yes. So I will tell you how to get into it, which is that you have to be basically at the end game. So just before you have to unlock the final mission to get to it.
But then when you finish that game, it sends you back to like before the final mission, so you can finish it. You don't need to like go back to a previous save. Like you can go back to a completed game save.
You can continue your save file. However, there are 2 specific side quests that you have to have completed.
Should complete them all anyway.
And well, you should complete them all because they're good. And these 2 specifically are probably 2 of the better ones because they are very much story related. I won't say what they are, but just do all the side quests basically.
Yeah.
So you have to have done that. Now, annoyingly, I had a bit of a thing of which save file do I do this on because I've already got the platinum, which means that I've basically finished it twice. And the first one was standard difficulty, and I did all the side quests and did everything. And then I did a Final Fantasy mode playthrough where I just did the story and didn't do the side quests. And it turns out, obviously with the DLC, there are trophies. And there is a trophy, which I did not realize because I stupidly didn't look until the very end. There is a trophy for completing the DLC on Final Fantasy mode. So I now wish that I had done it on Final Fantasy mode to get that trophy. But I hadn't done the necessary side quests on that playthrough, which is why I chose the base game. So I did it on the sort of easier difficulty, which was fine. But I sort of wish I'd done it on Final Fantasy mode.
Apparently,
now.
like the max level has increased to something like 110.
Yeah, something like that. I think I was only at like 70 something, maybe by finishing it, maybe 70, 80. So it's not a very long DLC. There's not a huge amount to it. I get the impression it might have been maybe some content that was cut, but they've now fleshed out into a thing. So it's kind of just like one extra quest. It's a nice extra. I will say one thing, which is that it goes behind that door.
Oh, the Hobbit door.
Yes.
Nice.
If you haven't played it, essentially there is a locked door in the game that you see quite early on, and it never unlocks throughout the whole game. And you're like, why is that there? And now we know. And that's why I think it's cut content, because I think they might have had it in there from the beginning and thought, maybe not.
Let's put it in DLC.
Well, not even DLC, because originally they said this is a one-off game, it's complete, no DLC. And because it was popular, they've changed their mind. So that's why I'm thinking...
You think it's been added it's been created quite late? They weren't planning it until...
No, I don't... Well, this is what they said.
We spoke to Ben, didn't we? We actually asked Ben on the podcast.
Did we?
And we were like, hey, is there any DLC? And he was like, well, I don't know. I haven't been asked. They've not told me.
Yeah. So
he's like, well, I've not recorded anything. And either he was lying, which he could have been. And obviously he'll have been under NDA, so he'll have had to say that. Yeah. Or whether he didn't know and he was about to record.
But that's why I think maybe this was part of it and they decided this isn't necessary, let's cut it. And then they've now decided we need some DLC. Do you know what? Let's rework that. I'm sure they've added to it and changed it. So it's not just a dump of cut content. But
you're hoping the second DLC is going to be a bit longer and
I think it will be longer, more substantial. If it's like maybe 10 hours or so, I'm like, that's a nice chunk of
that's a
story.
Game. That's Spider-Man's life.
Yeah, that would be great. So I'm hopeful for that. So yeah, that was the DLC. I don't want to say too much. It was fun. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it's a nice little sort of extra for people who've enjoyed it. And I'm very much looking forward to the next part more, basically.
Great. I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah. There's another game I played this week that, funny enough, is also Final Fantasy.
Nerd.
Because I'm a nerd. I'm very much in a Final Fantasy mood, but also when am I not? But also I very much am. Because of that DLC and with 7 coming out or Rebirth coming out, I'm like, right, I need to play through the original again. And I want to get back into 14. I've got that on PlayStation now. I want to play it with a controller. I need help, by the way. If people have good controller setups for a white mage, tell me. I need to know. So I'm just in a Final Fantasy mood, but I have been playing the Pixel Remasters. So I played Final Fantasy 1 a few months back. I think I talked about it.
We both did it, yeah.
Which was good. It was a nice intro to the series. I think it's very dated, and I think it's quite basic.
Yeah, but it's like one of the first kind, really. So it sets a lot of things up that they still use today.
It is understandably basic.
The first and the latest in the space of a few months.
Yeah. So I've now played Final Fantasy 2. Now, this seems to be quite derided, I think, generally, in the community generally, because it's just... I think the main reason is because of its leveling system. That is a bit strange. And it was never repeated. Well, it was repeated in spin-offs and another series from Square Enix, but it was never repeated in Final Fantasy. And that basically is that the more you do an action, the more experience you get, which theoretically, makes total sense. Like, the more you attack, the stronger your attack gets. Fine. And then there are things like, if you equip a shield, it boosts your evasion. And so the more you evade, it increases your evasion. So you want to make sure that all of your characters have a shield to make sure that they can evade. And the more you get hit, the more that increases your HP, so your health, which basically means you can exploit it by hitting yourself.
It's about the opposite of Dark Souls then, Dark Souls 2, where you get hit and your life goes permanently down.
Yeah. Semi-permanently. So this, you can basically like hit yourself to do damage and then increase your HP. So you can, basically the system is very exploitable. And I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, it's a bit weird, it's not very good. I love that.
Makes sense.
I really liked it because for me, it reminds me a bit of 8.
I was about to say 8's got an exploitative.
Because 8 has an exploitative system with the junction system, which very early on you can just draw tons of magic and junction it and boost your stats massively. And once you, I like that process because it makes me feel like, okay, I understand how this system works, so therefore I'm going to exploit it for my own gain, and that makes me feel good about understanding the game. So I actually like that in 8. That's one of the reasons I really like 8. A lot of people don't like the junction system. I love it. And I really enjoyed this leveling up system in 2 as well. 2 also felt like a big step on from 1 in terms of storytelling.
Okay.
1 is very much like, you have to save the princess and you have to defeat the 4 elemental thing. I'm like, wow, this is such basic fantasy nonsense.
I mean, you literally just explained Zelda, but sure.
Yeah, but you don't play Zelda for the story. Well, you do, but also you don't. Anyway, whereas Final Fantasy 2, I won't say what happens, but it doesn't feel that. I mean, it's a simple story because it's an old game, but it feels like it's a step on from the first game a little bit. It introduces some series staples like Sid. It's the first game with Sid in it. It's the first game with Chocobo in it. It's also, I can't remember if there's an airship in the first game.
There is.
There is.
Is it? Yes, because you get it in the desert. Or is it a balloon or something like that? I think it's in the desert.
I was trying to remember.
It's right in the middle of the desert, you get one.
This is very much based around airships, hence Sid, because Sid is the pilot. There's also quite a lot of deaths in it.
Don't spoil it. I'm going to play. This is my next one after 7.
Okay.
Because I'm going to eventually go through them all.
I won't say any more than that, but it's just, it's a very dramatic story. There's an evil empire. It feels like a very Final Fantasy story.
I thought 3 was derided the most because it was really boring, people said.
Yeah, 3's a bit shit.
Have you played it?
Well, I played the DS remake of 3, which I think counts.
I think I played the mobile version of it, but a long time ago when phones weren't that good. Or maybe even a DS version.
I've also played the DS version of 4, but I've also played a bit of the original 4, so that also counts.
I feel like I would have it on my phone because I technically bought it on Apple a long time ago. So I wonder if I type in Final Fantasy, because now I'm back with Apple. Is there? Well, actually, there's a million things on here, isn't there? But I'm sure I'm sure I definitely have one on here. But you keep talking, I'll find it.
So basically, 2 I really enjoyed. I think it is a bit weird, but to be honest, all the Final Fantasy games are weird, and that's what really sticks out to me is when people say like, you know, what is Final Fantasy, and you know, 16 isn't Final Fantasy enough or whatever because it's kind of experimental and changing things. But literally look at the difference between Final Fantasy 1 and 2, which came out a year apart. And they made so many changes and were willing to change up the formula and mix things up between literally just the first 2 games. And then that has continued throughout the series. So yeah, there are certain things like the active time battle system, which they created and used for a few games, fine. And yes, the first 10 are all turn-based.
Yeah.
But they were willing to experiment and change things up. And that is very clear, literally just from the second game.
Yeah.
So generally, I've had a really good time playing it. I did play it with some of the boosts, which the main reason for it is because you can turn off encounters. Thank you. Is because you can turn off encounters, and that is one of the most annoying things about the early games is the encounter rate.
Same with 7.
Very high.
Yeah.
It's not that high.
No, 7. I only turned off encounters if I needed to go somewhere to quickly check something and then run back. Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's over there is not what I need to do, but I turned it off. I ran up, so no, it's not up here, and then ran back down again, just so I didn't have like 7 fights on the way there and back.
Yeah. So you can turn off encounters, which I basically did in the dungeons, so that I could run around, explore the dungeons, because otherwise it's like you're trying to work your way around like a maze, and every 2 steps there's a battle.
You don't need to justify it. Those games were like longer because they had those in there.
So that's the thing. I did this in about 5-6 hours. It was very short. But turn off encounters in dungeons and then put experience points to like double, so that then when you do a battle, because there are certain ones that you're forced to do, you're getting extra experience from it to sort of balance out the fact that I was doing those battles. So I sort of created my own balancing
version of the game,
basically, which I really like that you can do and have a lovely time. So yeah, that was Final Fantasy 2. I really enjoyed it, generally.
Good.
So the next one for me is 5.
Oh, okay. You're not going to do 3 and 4 if you've already done them.
I've already played the DS versions. I might go back at some point, but the next one for me is 5, which I have never even touched.
I've heard very good things about 5.
I've also heard good things.
And then 6
And I
just
think
blew
that
it out of
it's
the
like
water.
4 and 6 are like the ones that people love, and 5 is the kind of misfit, which sort of gives me like 7, 8, 9 vibes of like people love 7 and 9, and 8 is the misfit in the middle. It's a bit weird. So I'm like, maybe I'm going to like 5. And I heard from Simon Nincompoop, who said to me that if you like exploitative, experimental stuff in Final Fantasy, you'll love 5. Now, I know nothing about 5 and the battle system and what the changes are, but I'm now very excited to play it. So that's next. And once that's done, I will have played all of the mainline games except 11.
We can play a little bit of 11 together one day just to say we've played it.
Just to tick it off. I'm like, I'm playing 14. That's enough MMO for me. I can't take on
Yeah.
another one. So I'm happy to skip 11. But yeah, that will be the last single player released.
Very good. Very, very good.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing a bit on my Portal. And I've mainly been playing Spider-Man
Hang on,
2.
you bought a gadget and you're actually using it.
Yeah, because you use the TV all the time, so I have to sit.
Yeah, I do.
I'm like, so we'll be sitting watching some TV. I'll finish our dinner, and you'll go. And I'm like, do you want to play some Zelda? You're like, yeah. Like, okay, well, I'll go in the living room. I'll go in the bedroom then with the Portal. That's fine. So I go and trudge off into the Portal on my own in the cold bedroom, and go and play.
There's a heated blanket in there. Turn it on.
I always forget to turn it on actually. But yeah, yeah, okay, that's the problem. So yeah, now I've been in there, and yeah, it's really good on the PlayStation Portal. This is Spider-Man 2. I feel like the Portal is a great piece of kit, and I'm growing to like it even more because there is a slight delay. But like I said, it's I think your old TV had a bigger delay to it than this did, so it's not too noticeable. And like the more I play it, the more I'm just completely used to it. I do think though the Portal might suit a less kind of fast-paced game. Because as I'm playing 60 FPS, kind of whizzing around, like, yeah, flying through the town, flying through New York City and spinning around corners, and like, there's just so much data being sent to the Portal that every now and again it does kind of lose a bit of its like clarity. And when you go and then play it on our 55-inch LG OLED with,
Don't show off to the listeners.
well, I am. It cost me a bloody fortune.
It did cost you a lot of money.
So when I go and play on that, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is a completely different experience. But the Portal is a good second fiddle for when you're playing it, when you're playing on the TV. So yeah, it's fine. But I think other games might be a little bit more suitable for that.
I think if I was playing a sort of smaller indie game, maybe on like PS Plus or something,
Yeah.
then I'd be tempted to say, do you know what? You can have the TV, and I'll give
Thank
the
you.
Portal a go. But if I'm playing something like Final Fantasy 16 or
Yeah.
I don't know, Alan Wake, that you're like, I want this to look good on a TV, then I'd rather play on a TV than a Portal.
I'd rather play on the TV, but like playing on the Portal, if I was like Final Fantasy 16, I'm fine with doing that second playthrough on the Portal and whizzing through.
That's
Or FIFA, for example. If I wanted to play some FIFA, I'd play it on there because it's just kind of mindless, go left and right and kick.
FIFA?
Yeah, and also it's not a lot of action moving around. Baldur's Gate, I bet, would be a good one
What
on there.
in the straightness is that?
Oh, you get to play as hot footballers. I love playing as fuckable characters. So yeah, I'll be using the Portal a fair bit, I'm sure. Although, are there any games coming out on PlayStation that you're going to be hogging the TV for? Or just mainly Zelda. But you can do handheld on Zelda. You should play in that on
Rebirth in February.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm 100% playing on the TV. Thank you very much.
That's fine. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. As long as it'll influence how you feel about it. If it's on a massive OLED, that's going to help you. Improve.
When that's a game I've been looking forward to for years, I want the best possible experience to play it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly how far I am through it. You don't need to tell me, but I'm currently whizzing through it. I've been doing a let's play on YouTube. If you're interested and you want to watch it, it's on my YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you've probably been bombarded with those videos because they go out every Wednesday and Saturday at 1 p.m. UK time. There we go, get the plug-in. And we'll always love a plug-in. And then, so yeah, I've been playing like about an hour and a half at a time, recording, although I've been recording a couple each time. So I've been kind of sticking to the main story on there, but I've been doing not the side missions, but I've been doing the kind of tick off box ticking things like
The
the side stuff,
collectibles.
the collectibles, the what's his name, Prowler's stash, the chasing birds, that kind of stuff. Collecting spider bots, destroying some
I
crystals.
hate those spider bots.
Yeah,
They're the worst.
I've caught most of them, I think, but I'll probably have to use a guide for the final ones. But I've been, just going around and doing that on the portal, which has been fine because I've just leveled up a load. I'm like level, God, what am I now? 39, I think. So, and I think the max level is 60, and you need to get to 60 for the platinum. So I'm sure, but like
It's easily done.
yeah, when you're doing the main missions as well, you're getting loads of
Yeah.
XP. So yeah, I've been doing that. But the actual story itself, I've been pretty gripped with. It's So
Do you want to say what's happened in your most recent episode?
I will be I won't spoil it because there'll be people that maybe want to play it or they might not have seen the latest episode or two on the Let's Play series. But I've been you've seen the trailer, you've seen the picture of it. There's the Venom, there's the black suit, the symbiote suit that you have, and that has been slightly like taking over me a little bit. And influencing me. So that's as far as I got. However, the last episode I did, so there's quite a lot of like side missions. Obviously, you're playing as Miles or you're playing as Peter, but there are other characters that you sometimes play as. You play as MJ, and those missions bug me the shit out.
They bug me the shit out.
Yeah, they're really annoying.
I don't know if that was an English sentence.
I'm not an English teacher anymore. It doesn't matter.
This is true.
So that you have to, it's all stealth. It's pure stealth. You can use your taser, but if you get seen, boom, boom, you're dead. So it's pretty much, you can use your taser to take people out, or you can use something to distract them. You can chuck a stone. I've even got another device now, but it's not the world's best. But anyway, it's all about stealth. And at the moment, I've had a few of these missions quite close together, and I'm like, I don't need any more, thank you. So hopefully
the MJ ones I was not a massive fan of, but I will say they are better in this one than in the first game. When she has nothing apart from like throwing a pebble. At least she's got a taser this time.
That's true, but I think there were very few in the first one.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit, because it's a kind of dark and you're hiding from all these people that are hunting you. It's very Last of Us. So the actual the setup of it, and even the imagery, like sometimes because there's all these people like with kind of camouflage and that kind of, we're hunting with our crossbows and stuff. It's very, very Last of Us, and you're like kind of sneaking around trying not to be seen, but like with a lot fewer abilities and less kind of options of what to do. It's pretty much you have to go there, then you're gonna have to go there.
It's very linear.
Even though it's a massive open world. So you can't really approach those in whatever way you want. And I feel like that's the same with a lot of the things in Spider-Man 2. The way that you complete missions, the way you complete this side stuff, it's all done the same way. Except for maybe when you're clearing out bases. You can either attack or stealth. But they're like the only two options. But it's fine. Like what you're playing is great fun. I love that they're like, hey, in this Spider-Man 2, you can use web wings and you can get around really quickly by like riding these air currents. Here are loads of side missions, or here are loads of other kinds of quests where you have to use that.
Yeah.
Whether it's the collectibles for the birds, you must use the web wings the entire time, or whether it's chasing a giant lizard where you must use the web wings to get around and chase them. So they are very much, here are all the different mechanics, and we're going to give you a lot of ways to practice them, which I enjoy. So I'm enjoying it. But one of the side missions it kind of forces you to do, we're talking about side people that you play as, is you play as Haley, who is a graffiti artist, and she's in Miles Morales. I don't think she's in the original game, is she?
No. She was introduced in Miles Morales.
Yeah. And she is a deaf girl who because Miles can sign, so he speaks with her.
She's basically like his mate from school.
Yeah, who's becoming a bit of a Mary Jane.
Well,
but I haven't got anywhere with that. But so playing as her, so you have to go and you help somebody, and then you realize that she's helped in this. Well, she's in this quest at some point, and what happens is you then have to kind of relive what has happened in that quest that you found what's happened. I'll rephrase that. you get somewhere and something has happened, and then you kind of go back in time to see what has happened, but you're playing as her. And as she is deaf, there's no sound.
Yeah, it's all
And
muffled.
it's all kind of, yes, because obviously people are deaf, but there's different levels of deafness. And so she has very, very, very limited hearing.
Yeah.
So there's a tiny kind of muffle, but it's mainly, well, you interact through kind of looking at people's emotions and texting and various other ways that I'm not going to explain too much. But I don't know, just a really magical moment in the game. And I'm like, oh, wow, I get what they're doing here. They're putting you in the place of that person. And it reminded me a little bit of Strictly Come Dancing. So in Strictly, there was a person who won it last year. Was it won it last? No, the year before.
2 years
ago. Yeah, because we didn't see her when we were there last year. So yeah, 2 years ago she won, and she was a deaf girl. Rosie? No.
I cannot remember her name.
No.
Yeah.
And she was fantastic. But in one of the songs, they turn the music off, or like the music just stops for about 15 seconds, and they continue dancing. And it's like, this is what she feels. She's there feeling the rhythm, and she has to kind of base it on just like visual rhythm rather than necessarily listening to music.
Yeah.
And that bit, like when the studio just was completely silent while everybody was listening, it was just really
Symphony.
Yeah, the song. It was really good, and just that was kind of emotional. And this one was as well. It's great when games do that and put you in the place of somebody, or put you in the shoes of somebody whose experience you may never experience, for good or for bad. So I thought that was really special.
That is the power of video games.
It is.
They can make you, put you in the place of somebody else, and you have to actually live through it.
And people say Starfield's a better game. Fuck off.
Yeah. Lol. As we're talking about that, I would like to give a quick shout out to Lady V, who is my colleague at Eurogamer, and also friend of the channel, who has interviewed the actress who plays Hayley. And she was raving about this interview because they had a sign interpreter
I was
with
wondering
the interview.
how
So it was done over Zoom,
Okay.
but there was a signer who was there doing the actual sort of listening to the signing and speaking and interpreting.
That's not sign language.
I know. I'm sorry. I was just gesticulating.
So you do that anyway when you
as I talk.
Yeah.
So it was speaking to the actress who is deaf. And was signing, and then there was an interpreter helping. And Lady V was raving about this interview and how cool it was that she had that experience. And that's now gone live. And It's a really, really good interview, and it's really interesting talking about things like dialects in sign language. So the fact that there are different dialects between, like, the Black community in America has its own dialect of sign language. And even that is regional, whether it's East or West Coast and Southern. And it's like the way that they come up with like an accent for her through the use of sign language and stuff. Like it's just really clever. So go read that.
Yeah, read it. I've read a bit of it. I quickly skimmed it. I saw there was one bit about a dog cocking its leg up with excitement or something like that. Or it's a
good read.
It is a very good read. I'll post the link in the YouTube description, so
nice.
You can check it there. All right, but other than that, I mean, Gubbins. We're still playing Gubbins.
I've got very frustrated with Gubbins this evening.
Do you want to explain quickly what Gubbins is?
It's a word game. You put letters up and you make words.
Yeah.
But there are Gubbins, which are like evil tiles that get in your way, and they keep coming up in the most annoying places for me. I'm getting buried-eyed.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it. Other than, I don't really know. I don't think I've been playing anything else. Maybe no, I haven't gone back to 7 yet.
You will.
You will. Over Christmas. In fact,
your Christmas game.
The next time we talk about a game, like when we do what we've been playing in January, hopefully I'll have been playing a lot more of that.
Good. Nice.
So what have the listeners been playing?
What have you lot been playing? So we start off with Chaddy, who says, after a few recommendations, I decided to start checking some of them out. Thanks. They were recommendations by us.
Brilliant.
Thank you for listening. I played through Astro's Playroom on the PS5, which showcases what the controller can do. A fun little platformer utilizing all the features of the controller. Pretty fun game that only took me a few hours to complete. Do you know what I was thinking? That's a game I would love to like wipe my memory of and then play again, because I had so much joy of what's going to happen next in this controller when I'm holding it and what else is in this game.
Mm.
Also, the GPU song is an absolute banger.
There's lots of good, like the platinum in that is fun. Even the time trial one.
Such a good song.
Even like the time trial ones where you had to get to the end in a, you had to get a bronze medal in finishing the level in like a specific time.
Yeah.
Like there were a couple that were frustrating, but by the end of it, you're like, this is great fun.
It's such a good game.
It really, really is. It's bundled with every
It
PS5.
literally comes
doesn't it?
with your PS5. Like, just download it and give it a go. Like, it's amazing.
It should. I don't. Is it? Do you have to download it or is it already installed?
No, I think you have to download it.
Because it feels like one of those games that you like.
Maybe
you should get, and it should pop up and be like, "Hey, here is Astro's Playroom. It's a great demo of what your PS5 can do. Play it now," and you should do.
3 years ago that I got my PS5.
Yeah.
Whenever it came out. So I don't quite remember if it was already pre-installed or not.
I can't remember. I mean, I had Astro's Playroom, Demon Souls.
Yep.
And Spider-Man, I think Miles Morales, was that a launch PS5?
It was, yes.
Yes, I had that bundled with Spider-Man 1, the remastered one, which I've still got.
I had Astro and then I got Demon Souls. And then pretty soon after that, I got Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Did you get, did you get Bugsnax? Because I think that was very early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a download, I think.
Yeah. It was PS Plus.
Yeah.
That was quite early.
Nice.
Oh.
Chaddy, I also downloaded Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator on the Switch after finding it from a chat in Ed's stream. Not got too far with this, but it's got a lovely art style, and I'm enjoying the dynamics of the characters so far. Although which dad I will choose, I have no idea. That was a very amusing moment in my stream when Chaddy was going through the eShop and was like, "Oh my god, Dream Daddy, this looks ridiculous." And I was like, no, genuinely, you should play that. It's a really good game. And everyone was like, no, it's actually really good. Like, seriously.
If you like those kind of games.
It's a silly little simulator love game. I liked it.
Good.
Srettle says, I deleted Ryan, that's
wow.
Partner. I deleted Ryan's Animal Crossing island on his OLED.
I hope he knows.
Yeah, I hope he agreed to that. Wow. And started a new one. And the first villager I invited to the island was Lily.
I used to have Lily.
Who's Lily?
She is a blue frog, and I left. I think Bayleaf took her.
Oh. And then I built a house for her, forgetting that each house is for a specific personality type, and ended up getting stuck with Broccolo. Oh, that's the mouse.
I like Broccolo. Broccolo's cute.
I had Broccolo.
I like Broccolo.
It was a bit annoying. I wanted Punchy as my lazy.
For those that don't know about Animal Crossing, and like, what? I wanted Punchy for my lazy. What? Yeah, I mean, if you don't know anything about Animal Crossing, you should play it immediately because it is the best game ever made.
No.
Better than Breath of the Wild.
You wash your mouth out, young man.
I played a lot more of that. 2,000 hours.
Just because you played more of it doesn't make it better.
Yeah, that's true.
Debs, it's been mainly DDV for me, which is Disney Dreamlight Valley. I was quite surprised how much the DLC had. I'm not trying to rush through it, and I'm just playing the game for an hour or two each day. That way I don't get burned out with all there is to do.
Yeah.
I also have not experienced any of the bugs that people were complaining about at launch. Didn't know there were that many bugs. I also picked up extremely powerful capybaras, which is your basic roguelike game. Pick a capybara fighting style, kill all the little enemies, become stronger, and then kill the boss at the end. Love the little cartoony art style of the game. Mr. Milhill, I've been playing Lethal Company this week and having tons and tons of fun. Now,
what is that game? Because I've seen it.
Now, I actually don't know that much, and I should, because it's like the most popular game of the moment right now. It's gone viral. It's it's everywhere.
Even more than the day before?
Yes. It reminds me a lot of Among Us and Phasmophobia when they hit their peak in COVID. It has a ton of comedic value. It's terrifying, and all runs go differently. Basically, you are working for the company, trying to find scrap metal and items from abandoned facilities on different moons. Each facility has lots of abandoned items, but also weird creatures, machines, and defenses that make your life difficult. Sometimes you just hear your team member scream in the distance, then silence, and then footsteps coming your way. It's wonderful, it's scary, it's comedy gold.
I'm good. Scary, I'm
not
fine.
For you.
Not for me. Phasmophobia was enough.
Yeah, that's not scary.
I was just thinking, because there's all these games that are out on Game Pass. How good would it be if Microsoft released kind of like a streaming-based kind of PlayStation Portal-esque? If they released
the Xbox?
If they released like a PlayStation Portal style Xbox One, but it had kind of cloud streaming capabilities, and kind of every game that you play on that you've got on Game Pass, you can play on that. I know that you can download Game Pass on the Rogue Nexus or whatever it's called.
Cloud streaming games already on Game Pass, and you can stream them to like anything.
Oh yeah, no, but imagine
it's just not a dedicated machine.
Yeah, imagine if Xbox released their own version of one of those, and they're like, "Hey, you can play any Game Pass game on this." And I think you can on the Rogue Nexus Ally and all these other the Logitech versions.
It's much more open than PlayStation is.
Yeah, those ones. But I wondered if I just had a random thought that like if Xbox sold one of those and they were like, hey, you can actually stream games from it.
It's a new gadget, so Ben would buy it.
Of course I would. Well, I think a lot of people would, especially because that's the one thing that the PlayStation Portal doesn't do. You can't stream games directly from the cloud. You have to do it from a PlayStation 5. Whereas
I see. But what you're saying is that was literally just a streamable thing. It's it's a Microsoft Xbox handheld.
Kind of, but it's all streamed. Or you can stream it directly from your Xbox if you want like better quality or whatever. There you go. Okay. There you go, Mr. Spencer. You can have that for free.
Sure. He's too busy playing video games and not doing any work.
He is. He's
honestly, his recap of the year. I'm like, I'm
kids
sorry.
Play his
You're a CEO. When are you working? Because you're spending all your time playing video games, and I appreciate that's obviously part of your job to know these things. But also, when are you working?
But also, is it him playing it? Does he have kids at home?
No, he's hit level 100 in Diablo 4. That's like hundreds of hours alone.
I wish I was a CEO and didn't have to do anything.
Right?
Anyway. Speaking of which, Bobby Kotick's going to become the CEO of West Ham United.
Well, he's going to buy a bit of it, which is ridiculous.
Sorry, West Ham.
Last up, Mr. Wibble. After a very long day of doing work things, is that what you call it? And thinking I may be out of words, but I've been continuing Super Mario Brothers Wonder. And as a first Mario game, it's an absolute blast. It's tempting to try to 100% each world, but for now, I'll just try to finish the game. I've also been playing SteamWorld Build, which now has a winter holiday theme. So snow, Christmas trees, snowmen, lights, a Yule goat. A Yule goat?
Yule goat?
Is that a thing?
It is in SteamWorld Build, apparently, yeah.
The gameplay is still building a town with an economy above ground and excavating 3 mine levels below, where you engage in some light tower defense to find pieces of technology.
That's one thing I didn't notice. I didn't realize there were 3 levels to the mine. Like I spent ages in that game on one level, and I had no idea there were more, and that there were also tower defense in it. So
yeah, to find pieces of technology, which should help you get off the exhausted planet you're on. It's a pretty game and fun to play, and not terribly punishing if you mess up. I'm playing on balance and haven't really run into trouble. There's also a difficult mode that should pose a challenge, as there are fewer resources, tougher enemies, and more expensive construction.
Really liked SteamWorld Build, what I played of it. Yeah, full disclosure, I got a free copy. I was actually sponsored to do a stream of it, but that sponsored stream, it's great when you get sponsored to do a stream of a game that you think you're going to like, and then you actually really do it. And it's like, oh, I'm getting paid to play this game for 2 or 3 hours that I really enjoy. Cannot complain.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, SteamWorld Build, genuinely a fun game if you're into that kind of game. Should we see what's been happening in the news?
In the news, yes. Now...
Oh, you've got it on yours.
I've got it on my phone. So last week was the Game Awards, and that tends to be sort of the last big event of the year, the last big major news, and everyone thinks, you know what, it's going to be quiet after this. Like, everyone take some time off. Don't worry about working.
I'm glad you've had such a relaxing week.
No. A lot of people decided to make things happen this week.
Yeah, dicks on Twitch.
Well, that is literally the first one, which is that Twitch has updated its policy on sexual content. Now, what they're
going to do dick streams.
I'm absolutely not, because that's not allowed.
Do you want me to fix a camera underneath the desk?
No, that is not allowed.
What about if you're wearing clothes?
That is allowed.
Okay.
So basically, they had a new blog post which has outlined the changes to the policy, there aren't really that many changes. It's more that they had 2 separate things that they've consolidated to make it clearer. Now, one thing they have said, which I do massively agree with, is that anything that is explicit or sexual content will no longer be on the homepage. And that's because the homepage,
including the
recommendations,
including
of the carousel.
The carousel, and also including the shelf, which are the ones below it. Yeah.
And they recommend streams to you, but because it comes up with a thumbnail of that stream, if that's then explicit content, it immediately looks like it's awful.
Yeah.
So that will no longer
Oh, great.
be on the homepage, which I think is a very good thing, especially for like younger viewers and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think a large reason this has come up now is because, I mean, there's always sexual content on Twitch. There's always controversy around it.
We've
There's
seen your
debates
streams.
around it. Funny.
Ah,
There's
I can get a little bit saucy.
yeah, like there's some spicy chat, but you know, there's no visual nudity. Thank you very much.
Not yet.
Not ever. So there's been a lot of that coming up recently. I've seen lots of streams of topless women clapping.
What?
Well,
No, not the hands.
I think they try to make it look like it's not their hands, but I'm pretty sure it's their hands that they're just doing this. And with the arms coming together, it looks like it's something else, and it's a complete lie. And if straight men are falling for that, then I mean, good on you, women, for
Or
exploiting
lesbians.
them. Or that's true. I'm pretty sure it's mainly straight men who are watching.
But there's also a lot of kind of topless gay men as well that exploit.
I mean, also
thirst
that as
of
well.
gay men as well.
Everyone's thirsty on Twitch.
Yeah,
Well,
it's true.
Well, maybe not everyone. Anyway,
It's thirsty.
so that's why it's come up recently, is because there has been a massive influx of that, and it's become a bigger problem. So Twitch have addressed it. So they said, we've received consistent feedback from streamers that our current policies around sexual content are confusing and that it can be difficult to know how their content will be interpreted based on these policies. We want streamers to feel confident they understand our rules and viewers to feel confident they will get the experience they expect. So the main thing basically is they're talking a lot about CCLs, which are content classification labels. And so now there is one for sexual content, and anything that is vaguely sexual must be labeled as that. If you do that, it won't be on the homepage. But if you don't label it appropriately, they will slap a label on it anyway and be like, no, this is this.
I mean, I feel like they should be a bit stricter. If you don't put that label on and you're doing sexual stuff, then you should get suspensions and things.
Well, that's the thing. I think you should get suspended. And they've said specifically you won't be suspended, but they will lock that label on your stream
Okay.
for a certain amount of time.
But also, like, I today was like, oh, intrigued. Let me go and click on the art category because I'd had a.
Before
Okay.
you say that, just to say, basically, there are a list of sexual themes which outlines sort of what is and isn't acceptable. And they've talked about what was previously prohibited and is now allowed.
What are you going to stream? Go on then, tell us.
So it includes content that deliberately highlights breasts, buttocks, or the pelvic region, even when fully clothed.
Also, so it is allowed now.
So if you put a camera on your crotch, but you were still wearing clothes, that would be fine.
Okay. What about if you're
I
doing...
don't really know why, because that's weird.
Well, what about if you were doing like a Just Dance stream, but like of your pelvic area doing Just Dance in grey joggers? Yeah.
That would be fine,
Oh.
I think. Because
Well, you can join
because
for the
I'm not,
Just
that's
Dance
not happening.
subathon on Sunday.
A, you're clothed, and B, that is not a sexual game.
But what if you see things kind of swinging around in there?
Well, I don't know what you're expecting to show people.
No, I'm not. I don't want to be shown.
And I won't be.
I'll be the host.
Well, I presume that would be allowed.
You're wearing grey joggers right now?
I am. They're not on camera.
Shall I do
So
it? We're
that's-
allowed that now. I can
No.
tell. Oh, okay.
We're on YouTube. It's different to Twitch.
Oh, yeah, you can get knob out on YouTube. Can't you?
Absolutely not. Body writing is allowed.
Can I write on your body?
So I know a lot of people do the whole like sign their chest.
Yeah.
Thanks to subs and things like that. That is perfectly fine. Erotic dances involving disrobing or disrobing gestures, i.e., you can striptease on Twitch.
Strip teasing's allowed.
And then also fictionalized nudity. So
Drawing dicks.
drawing dicks. So basically, it's because of artists were penalized if they were drawing things that are explicit. However, you can't draw sexual acts or masturbation.
Okay. So today I had been tipped
That was my
off.
lead up to
Well
you.
done. Today I've been tipped off on YouTube, on Twitter, that the art category was quite interesting on Twitch. So I went over to Twitch, clicked on the art category, and holy moly, I saw lots of dicks and lots of vaginas and lots of bare breasts. And yes, none of them were depicting kind of sex or anything like that, but
It was tasteful nudity.
It was not
But
tasteful.
it was nudity all the same.
Yeah, and I could just see those from the thumbnails. I wasn't clicking on any of them, but like literally 1 in 7 or 8, I could see something what people would class as explicit. And I just thought, oh, like art. Little old Frida from down the road in a little, knitting club. She might be like, I want to try something new. I'm going to go and look at art. Let's go and see what somebody actually doing some art that, I might be inspired by. And there is looks like a rabbit with massive milking tits and and a dick as well. And it's like, and that's genuinely what was on today. It was a rabbit with massive tits, and then there were two. Both of them had massive tits. One of them had a
large schlong,
a love length, and the other one had a thing and a hole, and it was
vagina.
Exactly.
You can say vagina.
I can't. I'm very shy. So yeah, and I was like, oh, I think if something is marked as sexual activity, then the thumbnail should be blurred. The only problem is when something's blurred, you want to click on it. So are then people going to mark all of their stuff as sexual activity
to get the views?
Yeah, because people are going to be like, hey, what's going on here? Why is it blurred?
I mean, I think that's exactly what's happened here. I appreciate that Twitch are trying to say, look, if it's tasteful and it's part of art, then, that's not the same as actual nudity. So, we'll allow it. But I now feel like people are just taking the piss by purposely drawing really explicit stuff to try and people are just trying to push Twitch's buttons, basically.
Yeah, but also people, I think I've not seen any of it, but people have mentioned that there's stuff on there that it's obviously art. It's like drawn. It's not a real person, of people that are way younger than they should be, which is disgusting, and they should be banned immediately. What we're going to do now, we're going to have a little game where we're going to click on the art, and I want you to have a guess, Ed, which of if we go across from most popular to least popular, which, and I might have to change it, what number do you think you will either see tits, dick, or vagina?
Oh, I think number 1.
You think number 1?
I think the most popular one is going to be something explicit.
I'm going to go for number 7. I'll be right. Let's go and see art. It's recommended for you. Let's say high to low. Okay. Oh. There's lots of butt. There's no dick at the moment.
But hang on. What's that very first one? You can't.
Shall I zoom in? Okay. Let's click on this. This is. It's somebody with very. It's art.
It's an anime character
with
who is very well endowed.
And yes. Actually, we're going down there. It's okay. Have they done something better? Okay, no. There is a vagina. But yeah. So actually, right now, it's
that's a vagina with some butter melting on top of it.
Oh, was that a vagina? I thought it was, and I was like, "You sure?"
Come on.
No, I think that's just a bad drawing, Ed.
Well, is that a vagina or is it a pancake?
The annoying thing is, though, for some reason...
It's definitely a block of butter on top of it.
It was showing vagina and penis and all that stuff when I had it set for recommended for you, so maybe it's my fault. But I must say, from high to low, 1, 2, 3, there's lots of buttocks. There's lots of very, very...
Maybe it's just butt hour.
Pronounced, yeah. But then if I go recommended for you... Do we see? Oh, what's that? I don't know, but it recommends kind of furry porn and penises, which is actually not the furry porn, but will not complain.
They're not allowed to be doing anything sexual.
No, that's true.
As long as it's tasteful.
But yeah, I don't know. Earlier today, it was a lot less. Safe for work.
I remember seeing, and it was not good.
So I was like, hey, look at this. So maybe there are, I don't know, because now they're allowed, so they wouldn't have been banned or anything, but
yeah.
Anyway, well, we'll have to do something else. Well, I'm going to be, speaking of art, I'm going to be drawing.
Oh, God. You're not drawing anything explicit.
Well, I'm drawing the creation of Adam, and hasn't that got Willy in it?
Oh, that's true.
And I'll be able to do that. Oh, well, I have to put the sexually explicit thing on there. Is art sexual? Well, actually, yeah.
You could just blur it out.
I could put censored.
Yeah, just do your art and then just put an emoji over the front or something.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin the creation of Adam because it's disgusting.
I mean, you're going to ruin it regardless.
I think Renaissance, is it a Renaissance painting?
Yes.
Oh, a Renaissance nudity is just wrong. And I think, we shouldn't subject our children to that kind of foul, vulgar imagery. And therefore we should censor all art that has penises and vaginas.
No, you don't. Pipe down.
Sorry, I've just turned into a Gen
You've turned into
Z.
Karen.
No, a Gen Zer. That's what they don't like sex in movies. Have you seen all the stuff going on? Like on Twitter, there's a big debate because like the Gen Z, which I think are the youth, they don't like sex in movies because it's like it never adds anything. Like sex doesn't add anything, and therefore it shouldn't be in there because it's uncomfortable and people are uncomfortable because it never adds anything.
It can add something.
I mean, it can add something for you if it's very well, there's certain people in it.
Well, true. Also, it's about human emotion. Sometimes it can be completely like gratuitous.
Yeah, but who cares? It's art. It's a film. I don't like it particularly. I can't like when people start snogging, they're all romantic. It's like it's just not my thing. But I'm not going to be like.
Well, it also
trying to
depends. If I'm
cancel it.
watching a film with my parents, then I'm less interested in that being
You
sex.
made me watch a TV program with your parents of Uma Thurman or whatever having sex with a dog, sex with a duck.
Right. It was not Uma Thurman.
Who was it? Nicole Kidman.
No, it was.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
No, it was part of a series that was
They're all the same.
produced by a famous actress, but they weren't in it.
But the person was having sex with a duck.
Someone had sex with a duck, and we watched it with my parents. But that was silly. That was stupid.
It was uncalled for. But yeah, and there was also a tweet going around today, which because
I watched Brokeback Mountain with my parents,
that's
got like a finger going in the butthole, ready for some anal sex.
How old were you? 19.
And
you hadn't come out then either.
I hadn't come out, and they didn't know I was gay, and they still didn't think so afterwards.
They still don't. They still keep.
They're fully aware now.
Spraying you with holy water when you go home. But no, there was another thing as well. There was a thing today of it was like the worst tweets of the year. Did you see that competition going on?
I did not see that.
And one of them was saying like how sex in movies is terrible because the characters haven't given consent for you to be there and sharing that intimate moment.
That's not.
That one was winning their bracket. But yeah, so
the characters are not real.
Neither is the sex. Because it's literally
and the
not
actors will have given consent, I'm sure, or at least I bloody hope so. Otherwise, that's a terrible production. But
yeah.
Anyway, you've got.
Don't watch anything by Harvey Weinstein.
No, definitely don't do that. Anyway,
what's a popular film by him?
Oh, he produced tons of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know anything specific. You've got a Steam Deck.
I do have a big one.
How does it smell?
Oh, I've been huffing it. Yeah, that's why I haven't been speaking so much today. I've been huffing that thing like. I've been huffing it and licking some Nintendo Switch cartridges at the same time.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, the thrills I've been getting.
Lovely. So basically, there's a story going around on Reddit that apparently the fumes from a Steam Deck smell nice.
So do the ones from a Switch as well, and they're the ones like you play any game that's not Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster, and it's going to be making a right noise, and you can.
That's true.
Have a good whiff of that.
Even that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have been smelling their Steam Decks, and somebody posted there on Reddit a screenshot of a reply that they received from Steam support. Their ticket saying, "Is it safe to inhale the exhaust fumes from the top of the Steam Deck vent?" Basically they were like, "I kind of like it."
Why would you email? Don't tell people.
Valve's response was, "There are no safety concerns with general usage, but directly inhaling the device's vent fumes should be avoided."
Yeah, because I mean it's warming warming plastic in there, so I don't know. It's not obviously going to be pumping out, exhaust fumes, but it's hot air from like warm plastic. Also, if you want to hear a loud fan, leave your Switch on over a weekend playing Animal Crossing. Come back to that.
That's true.
That makes a noise.
Also, apparently the OLED Steam Deck doesn't smell as good. It's sweeter, cheaper, and does not have me coming back for more. Says someone on Reddit.
I will wait for the next version of the model, the Parma Violet version.
But yeah, don't smell your Steam Deck. It's there to be played with, not to be sniffed.
Exactly. Yeah, just do with it what you're meant to be doing with it.
Now, the biggest story of the week.
Oh,
the day before.
Ah, now this is. Oh, you didn't mention this in what you've been playing.
No.
Ooh,
because I played it for 20 minutes.
What we've been playing, extra time. Here we go.
Extra time. So, a game came out last week, the same day as the Game Awards, called The Day Before. And this game has been in the news all year. People were initially very excited about it. It was one of the most wanted games on Steam. And it was this zombie MMO game that had these trailers that initially looked amazing. But then people started comparing it to other games and realizing that it was kind of copy pasted from loads of other
An
bits.
asset flip.
Yes. There was also controversy around them using volunteers who were unpaid
Really?
to make the game.
Isn't that a volunteer though?
Well, yeah, but it's like they just didn't pay people for their time, basically. There was also a trademark dispute with the name because there was a Korean calendar app that was also
Yeah.
called The Day Before, who were like, we've trademarked this. And it's been this ongoing thing. People all year have been saying this game is a scam. This game is a scam.
We've not heard anything
And
from
they've
it
been
or
saying,
seen
no,
it.
it's not a scam. Like, this is definitely coming out. Boom, boom, boom. So the game finally comes out, and it's a fucking mess. It is not an MMO at all. It's just a sort of online extraction shooter. They had loads of servers, but they were all full. Because I ended up playing it, and I had to go through loads of servers before I could even get into it. It's very basic. The gameplay is awful. It's buggy. The frame rate's bad. The AI is terrible. Like, there is just nothing good about this game, and it doesn't look like what it should have done.
Thing is, I wish you'd recorded your playthrough because, like,
I mean, I've got
well,
some screenshots
of what's going to
but-
happen, because having that video of that years to come, people are going to be talking about this game, and footage
Maybe.
of it will have disappeared.
Maybe. I mean, basically, I read somewhere that if you stand on a car, the zombies won't hit you because they don't understand where you are. And I did that and was literally invincible and just like started shooting a zombie in the head, and it took a lot of shots to kill it, and it barely reacted to the shots either. Like, it was awful. I played it for like 20 minutes just to test it. The reason being that so the day after it came out, the day before,
the day after the day before came out, the day before.
Yeah. It was being completely review bombed on Steam, and it was like very, very negative reviews.
I mean, review
People
bombed
saying
is usually a specific hate campaign, but I think this sounds like
but
it
this was just people
justified.
saying like, this game is awful. This does not live up to expectations. It's really, really bad. So that happened basically last Friday, the day after the Game Awards. And then Monday evening this week.
Yeah, because they released it just after the Game Awards came out. Or
Yeah.
was it the day?
Same day.
Okay, it's the same day, and there were reasons why we think that.
Well, maybe they wanted to try and bury it a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. So then Monday, Fantastic, as they are called, which is fantastic without the A, or maybe Funtastic, I don't know, but it's Fantastic. They closed on Monday night. And
The
everyone's
whole
like,
company?
yeah, they shut down the whole company.
That sounds like a bad launch.
It really does.
If you close your company 2-3 days after your game came out, your big, highly anticipated game came out, then that's not a good idea. It's weird, like in a game of in like a year of everybody talking about layoffs and how awful it has been for the industry, they announced this and nobody said anything about that. They were just like, oh yeah, serves them right.
They shut down immediately. The reason being that the game had failed financially and we lack the funds to continue.
But this is a game
And
that
that's
requires...
literally like 4 days after it came out.
And this is an MMO where they'll technically have to be paying for servers for people that want to play it online. Because apparently there is an offline version.
Yeah, probably.
There is. I Googled it because I was like, is this game like going to be unplayable now? But apparently not.
So the day after it shut down, we then had a statement from Mytona. Now, Mytona is the publisher that put money into it, and Fantastic is the developer.
Okay. Yeah, explain this to me again because I totally forgot and didn't quite understand what you meant the first time. So explain it like I'm 5.
Fantastic
is the developer.
So they made the game.
Yeah, I know what a developer is.
Okay. And then Mytona is the publisher who basically invested in it.
Yes.
I'll tell you more in a minute. So Mytona basically had
out.
to apologize for the game. They said, we are sorry for the fact the game didn't meet the expectations of the majority of the players. Today we will work with Steam to open up refunds for any players who choose to make a refund. We're in contact with Fantastic regarding the future of the game. So basically it got taken off Steam, so you can't buy it anymore. I think you can still play it.
Yeah. They said the servers they're keeping the servers up, I think, for a little
So
while.
if you bought it, you can still play it. I got a refund, so I got rid of it after 20 minutes because fuck that shit. But Steam are offering refunds to anyone no matter how long you've played it, because normally Steam's policy is it has to be under 2 hours you've played it and within 2 weeks of purchase. But this is just anyone, no matter how long you've played it, you can get a refund. So my toner are sort of working with them on that. Oh my god, adverts on this page.
It's Eurogamer.
Yes. So there were various knock-on effects. Obviously, it's no longer available to purchase, as I said. Fantastic CEO Eduard Gotovstev basically removed his X account and just his Twitter account.
Okay.
So he's just completely gone off grid. Like he doesn't exist anymore. The game's Discord server was wiped. Now, before it was wiped, because Lady V she was in it, and so she went in and saw, oh, it's been completely wiped. Before that, I saw videos of people sharing Nazi symbols and porn and God knows what on there. So the Discord was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a weird thing where another game called The Wild 8, which is on Steam, had its developer name changed. So obviously in Steam, it lists the developer and publisher, and it changes it. And if you go to SteamDB, you can see the history. And it was changed from Fantastic to 8 Points.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, why have they changed the name? Like, that sounds fishy. Why have you done that yesterday?
Have they just rebranded?
Now, that game was published by Hype Train Digital. And I contacted Hype Train and got a response from them. And basically what it was is that because this game was getting review bombed, this other game called...
The day before?
This other game called The Wild 8.
Okay, that one.
Was getting review bombed on Steam because it was listed as Fantastic. Now, Fantastic and 8 Points, the developer they changed it to, are the same. But 8 Points is the original development team of a previous game who changed their name to Fantastic. So they've changed, it's basically the same developer, they've just changed the name to it.
Okay, so they went back to the original name.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Which was sort of makes sense, but it's like that's the knock-on effect basically of everyone searching for anything with Fantastic and being like, what the hell is this?
So it's the same people that worked on the day before made that game?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, but it wasn't terrible.
Apparently not.
Okay.
Just in terms of numbers, the day before had a concurrent player peak on its first day of 38,104, which is fairly decent. And within like a couple of days, that had dropped to 4,768, which was a drop of 87%. And then after that,
I helped you with that maths.
You did help me with that maths. After that, it dropped even further. So it's like it's just plummeted in a matter.
Oh, should we see what it is now?
Do it.
Was it SteamDB?
Go to SteamDB.
It'd be interesting to see with that
SteamDB.info.
.info. It's cheaper probably for them.
It was probably on the right because they have trending games.
Well, it's certainly not trending.
Oh, it's no longer trending.
What's it called again? The day before.
The day before.
Oh, there we go. Currently 206
in game. If you scroll down, past that.
Oh, this one.
Oh, on the left, click on charts.
Ooh. So yeah,
there you go.
It's pretty much dead. It started. Yeah, it got the peak of what? Actually, the peak was 38,000. Dropped. It got a little. I think when it was delisted or whatever, or all the shit hit the fan. It kind of had a little bit of a bounce. And obviously it's got some bounces from like the day. I think it's the times.
It's daytime.
Yeah. But like since the 12th of December, so the last 2 days, it has not got anywhere close. Well, it's not got to 1,000. So at the moment, 206 people are playing that game that came out a week ago.
Yeah.
And was the second most popular game on the second top seller, was it, on Steam?
Yep.
So yeah, that went shit.
Well, it was the second top behind the Steam Deck, which is the number one. So it was the number one game, basically.
Interestingly enough, though, on Twitch, the all-time peak was 500,000 viewers, or 494,000, which is wild. I think everybody was like, what? I'm kind of intrigued to see. I've watched a couple of videos just to be like, what is it? 16% positive.
Yeah. The controversies have continued because I wrote that story on Tuesday about the publisher apologizing and Steam refunds coming through. So there's more controversy that's now slowly, bit by bit, coming out. DualShockers did an interview with an anonymous source who was a former employee of Fantastic, who basically said that the game was never intended to be an MMO.
I think it was never intended to be released.
No, it was never intended to be an MMO. And they had marketed it as a big zombie MMO, and it was going to be this huge thing. And this person's literally said, no one from our team knows why they called it an MMO. It was always a third-person shooter with some co-op mechanics. Not one RPG mechanic was implemented. And basically goes on to just say how toxic it was. Like,
because they
a lot of
scrubbed
good
their
ideas.
YouTube, didn't they?
Yes, they changed the YouTube. So any trailers previously that mentioned MMO stuff, they got rid of in order to sort of.
What are you talking about?
It's a scam.
Yeah.
A lot of good ideas from our team were disregarded because the Gotovs devs, who were the two CEOs, didn't approve them. Anyone who complained too much was kicked off the team. A lot of stupid ideas were implemented, removed, and re-implemented because the brothers thought they knew better than us about what people wanted. It sounds like a complete mess. There were some numbers on Reddit that this person has confirmed, which is that 200,000 copies of The Day Before were sold.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
But 90,000 of those have been refunded so far, and that was a few days ago.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to be even more. There was also a report from Yahoo Gaming SEA, Southeast Asia, where they went to the office of Fantastic, which is in Singapore.
Oh, yeah. But it's set up by a Russian.
So Mytona is a Russian publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's also alarm bells, not to be too stereotypical.
Wow.
And I think the CEOs of Fantastic are, I'm judging by the names purely here, I think might be Russian. And they have been using an office in Singapore, which it turns out was a co-working space. So it wasn't their own office.
Because everyone's like, it's not Russian, it's Singaporean. And you're like, is it though?
Or is that just for tax reasons? And speaking to other people who use this office, they were like, yeah, we haven't seen anyone here. So it was just like, basically just a sort of virtual office.
And also probably not having Russia on there helps.
I mean, also that
which
as
is
well.
what I think was it Atomic Heart?
Yes.
Did they, where were they based?
All over. They had multiple offices. So yeah, basically that's the situation with The Day Before. It's been a complete mess. It's been ongoing all year. People have been super excited about it and then accused it being a scam. And it turns out it was a scam.
Funny that.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, that is shocking. Speaking of like Atomic Heart, weird how the two most kind of controversial games, apart from this, obviously, well, I mean, including this, they were like the most controversial games of the year, Hogwarts and Atomic Heart, pretty much just completely ignored at the end of the year. Like nobody's talking about them.
Because they were a bit shit.
Yeah. Who knows? Controversy doesn't necessarily sell.
Who knew? Another big story from this week, which is sad.
Oh no!
Is
it
that
death?
E3
yeah.
is officially dead.
I'm gutted. Like one of the I would say that I don't know if it plays a massive part, but part of the reason we do this podcast was obviously Giant Bomb. If you've ever listened to the Giant Bomb cast, preferably old versions of it rather than what they are now. Like one of the highlights, there were two highlights each year because they used to do a weekly podcast where they used to talk about what they've been playing and then they'd talk about the news and then they would do like an emails thing at the end, which we don't do. But maybe if we get big enough where loads of people are sending emails in, it'd be interesting to maybe do. But like they used to do that and their podcast would take about 2 hours and stuff. It's like very, very similar to this.
We're at an hour and a half.
Yeah, if we had emails to read, it'd be 2 hours.
It was meant to be a short one.
It was. Sometimes short ones
become
long ones. Yeah. But yeah, so like I used to listen to that religiously every week, and it made me want to do one, and that's why we are here. But the two things that they used to do every year, which I absolutely adored, was their Game of the Year coverage. Again, very similar to what we're doing. Although they go over like 5 days, and they're about 6 hours each. And yeah, so it's very.
That's excessive.
Hottest Mess was one of theirs, which we nearly had as a category. But yes, I mean, there's lots of similarities there. We do, but we might be changing from Hottest Mess.
No, that's another one we're changing.
Oh, is it another one we're changing? Okay.
Anyway, continue.
Yes, that's right. The other one we're changing is not. So yeah, Hottest Mess, stolen from there. Oh, you're blurry. Yeah. And then the other one is their E3 coverage, and they used to they used to speak over all of the announcement videos, announcements, and what they call like the showcases.
Mm-hmm.
And then every night they would have kind of like a talk show. They'd book a hotel, they'd get the conference room, set it up, and they would have guests from the industry tuning in and just having beer and chatting about it. And also every year, Jeff Gerstmann used to interview Phil Spencer for like a one-on-one, and it would be like one of the iconic interviews each year.
Mm.
And Phil Spencer used to come sometimes save some of the stuff. Like some of the stuff he would say would be like front page of the gaming stuff next the following day, because he used to be really like candid, and people.
He still is.
Yeah, they are, but people were really appreciative, I think, of him and Jeff Gerstmann doing their E3 chats. So yeah, and ever since then, and like seeing them enjoying themselves at E3 and like looking at behind the scenes and hearing what went on, I was like, I always dreamed of going to E3. For those of you who have no idea what it is, by the way, it's a giant gaming convention, a little bit similar to Gamescom, I think.
It was the biggest games convention, and
it still is,
it was in LA every June, and it was basically gaming Christmas. It's when they announced all the big games, all the new consoles, Nintendo, Sony, Sega,
and they started
Xbox,
dying when like
they were all there every
and I
year
think
doing huge
Nintendo,
conferences.
when Nintendo pulled out, it started signaling the death of it. But that used to be, but even when they pulled out, they still had their own directs or whatever. Or I think that when it first started, I think they were just not part of E3, but they did it separately, and there was still like they were not part of it, but they were adjacent to it.
Okay, hang on. So there are two parts to E3. There are the showcases, which is basically a sort of 2-hour presentation that each studio would do, or each publisher would do, which they would show off their stuff. And then there is the gaming floor, where they have stuff that's playable, and it used to be only for media and journalists, and then they eventually opened it up to the public. So what happened, the sort of initial thing basically with all this that set this off, is that Nintendo started doing directs, which basically means they do their showcase on YouTube instead. Because they don't need to hire a big theater and make a big thing of it. They can just make a YouTube video and put it online, which is a lot cheaper and straight to consumers, which sort of makes sense. And I see why they did it. They still had a presence at E3 in terms of showing off demos and things like that. So they were still there, but they didn't have the big presentation at E3. And then Sony started copying, Xbox have copied, slowly companies have pulled out. And so over time, E3 has sort of struggled and become smaller, and that's why they've relied on the public and selling tickets to try and make money. COVID then was obviously a huge thing and decimated them, and they never really came back since. So the news this week that it's officially dead is not necessarily surprising, because this has been a slow death over a long time, but it's still very sad because of what E3 was and what it represents, which is the games industry coming together to celebrate and show stuff off.
It's interesting hearing people that have worked in media and like have loads of experience of E3, because a lot of them hated it. Like they were just saying like they didn't eat or they didn't drink. They slept for maybe 4 hours at night because they were so busy running from one place to another, and like they just had, it was just constant mayhem. But there's some hilarious stories about people completely screwing up, and all these people no longer in the industry because they did something stupid at E3, and it's what was? Do you see the one that was on Twitter about? I can't remember what game it was, but somebody drew a dick. It was a DS.
It was a DS thing, and they drew a dick and accidentally sent it to Miyamoto.
No, they sent it, and it went up on all the screens around where they were, and Miyamoto was there, and apparently that journalist got kicked out of the Nintendo event. But no, I think Nintendo going out, and I think one of the reasons is that the success of video games has made it harder as well, because PlayStation and Xbox have realized like we don't need to like piggyback off anyone else's success. We are that successful right now. We can just put our own event out there. We can control the narrative completely. We don't even need to do it in June. Although I think, there are obviously some of the Games Fest and like the Game Awards time, but that's just one showcase. Whereas now they can be like, hey, we're going to do a PlayStation Direct, and they'll have hundreds of thousands of people tuning in, and they can just tell you exactly what they can kind of control the narrative completely, and they don't need a load of journalists to play the game and say what it's like.
And that is also the beginning of the death of journalism, in that we're not needed anymore, because you can just do a showcase direct to consumers and they'll buy it, and you don't need the middleman, which is a shame, because
to play it instead.
Because journalists apparently don't mean anything, which is a shame. Like I always wanted to, I mean, maybe that's a topic for another day, let's not get into it, but it should be an inbox. I always wanted to go through to E3, and when I became a full-time journalist, I was like, great, at some point I'm going to get to go. Technically I did, in that they had a virtual E3 in 2020.
Oh.
And I had a press pass for it, which meant absolutely nothing because it gave me no access to anything, so it was pointless.
Oh.
But technically, I went to the digital one. But yeah, I've never been to an E3, and I always wanted to go, and it just doesn't. No other games convention really matches it. I think I went to Gamescom this
Gamescom
year,
is
which
the
was amazing
closest.
and probably the closest. Or either that or Summer Games Fest, which I'm sure will be even bigger now because it's the only one. But
It's been the only one for a couple of years now, though. But
Yeah.
I'd quite like it if, because obviously Gamescom has their opening night live, but it's very, very light on kind of big AAA announcements. I would quite like, because that's in the summer, isn't it? It's October or September? Or was it? No, it was August because it was just after.
Gamescom?
Yeah, sorry, it was just
August.
after TwitchCon.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is the summer. I mean, June was when it was like the beginning of June, beginning to the middle of June when E3 used to be. So it'd be cool if they start kind of. I don't know. I think all of them are going to, because they do like to do their showcases in June because it kind of announces games for Christmas and then maybe even announces the odd thing that will be out the following year.
It's also a couple of months after the start of the financial year, which is
Yeah.
generally April. So it's starting off the year basically.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll still have the kind of the Xbox showcase and the PlayStation showcase, whatever they're all called, Nintendo Directs. Wonder if they'll still remain around about that time.
Probably.
But yeah, I wonder if, what would happen? Gamescom, put that earlier. Let's just do that instead. Just not Summer Games Fest. I've had enough with Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, I mean the Game Awards is also sort of taking the place of this, and I mean
I just hate how it revolves around the one man.
We talked about it a bit last week, but I mean the reaction to the Game Awards has not been good from the industry. The fact that people got cut off after 30 seconds, and the fact that it's just so much emphasis on adverts and
so much emphasis on Jeff Keighley
and his friends, and like it's not gone down well.
No.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that changes in the future as well.
Like I know he won't because he's got a massive ego, but I think it would be better for it if Jeff Keighley took a step back. And
He'll never do that.
No, but it's like the Game Awards. It's not at the moment. It's Jeff Keighley's the Game Awards.
Yeah,
but it should be these are the Game Awards. We've got some celebrity, maybe not even celebrity, but we've got some people who are massive in the industry as the hosts. Or
yeah, fuck celebrities. Like, I'm sorry,
Timothy
I don't
Chalamet
need Timothy
was
Chalamet to
terrible.
come in and robotically go, and the winner of Game of the Year is Baldur's Gate.
They jokingly
like,
introduced him and he didn't even use any jokes or anything. He was the most, like, he read exactly his script and then he left.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was IGN interviewed him and were like, so what's your Game of the Year? And he was like, Spider-Man. Why? Because it's really awesome. What bits did you like? I don't want to spoil anything. Did you play it, Timothy? Do you know what you're talking
He's
about?
pretty anyway. He's in Liza P.
No, he's not. Had he come out dressed in Liza P cosplay, I would have been like, nailed it, mate.
Yes.
Well done. You've had a gag, and it would have been better than Kratos' gag against Call of Duty.
I just get rid of Jeff Keighley and bring. I think a few things need to happen, which won't. Get rid of Jeff Keighley, please.
That won't happen.
But
Continue.
do it, and make it so that there is a people's vote for the Game of the Year, but have industry people and journalists voting on all the other categories.
That's how it works now.
No, but for the final winners, deciding on the winners, like the Oscars. Because it's all voted for on the website.
I think that's a percentage of the final vote.
You should. No, I think it's all voted, isn't it?
No. I think it's a percentage.
Oh, well, get rid of the public vote.
Yeah, fuck the public. Well, then
just
that's why...
Just do a few.
Just
do a few popularity ones and do those as the throwaway ones in between adverts.
Yeah. Well, you're turning it into the BAFTAs.
I mean, the BAFTAs is a lot more prestigious, I think, than the Game Awards.
Because it's got BAFTA behind it. There we go. Anyway,
If
that's
we were gonna,
enough chat about
if BAFTA would like to give us a table at the BAFTA Game Awards
Sure.
for swapping joysticks, we will happily take you up. I have a lovely suit.
I'll buy one.
I will buy a tuxedo if I get it. Yeah.
Anyway, there's one more story to talk about.
Another one?
There's one more, although
Bloody
this is
hell.
basically an inbox as well, which was an interview with Zelda producer Eiji Aonuma
Oh.
that was done by IGN. And there were a number of things that came out of it. They talked about Link and Zelda's relationship being up to player interpretation, even though we all know that they're banging.
Brother and sister. Oh, not brother and sister?
They're definitely banging.
I mean, they could be brother and sister.
They're definitely banging. Also talked about the possibility of Zelda being playable in the future. They'll think about it.
Oh, yes.
But one of the big quotes that came out of it was Aonuma's views on linear games.
Yeah, it was games. It wasn't just Zelda, was it?
Well, it's interesting because he was talking about games, and I don't know if the quote has just been taken out of context or sort of the conversation out of context. But the interview was about the Zelda games and Zelda series, so I think it's maybe semi-implied he's talking about Zelda, but he doesn't actually specifically say Zelda. But he's talking about linear games basically being games of the past. But he also talked about it's interesting when I hear people say that they miss traditional linear Zelda, because I'm wondering, why do you want to go back to a type of game where you're more limited or more restricted in the types of things or ways you can play? He then says games which have a strict order of events are kind of games of the past, whilst modern games can accept a player's own decisions and give them the freedom to flexibly proceed. I do have to admit, making games that way always carries with it additional development costs because open world games are massive. He does admit, I do understand that desire that we have for nostalgia, so I can also understand it from that aspect in terms of people wanting the sort of traditional Zelda games.
So what people say about traditional Final Fantasy games, it's like it's just nostalgia.
Well, a bit. I mean, this is coming from the series producer of Zelda, so it's kind of an indication of what might be coming next. I think they've had such a success with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where they individually have sold 10 times more than any other game in the series. It's so obvious that this is what sells for them that I think they're going to keep doing this open world style of game.
I just hope they change it a fair bit.
I'm totally fine with that. Like I said, this is an inbox question, so we should talk about it later another time. But
MMO.
I
Real
think
MMO.
for me, like a Zelda game that's open world but still with old school style dungeons is my dream. I think they're going to stick with open world games, and it feels like they're not going to go back to the linear style that we had in older games. However, what I don't understand is why we can't have both.
Yeah.
In the way that with Mario, we have the 3D games and the 2D games. Or in the past, we've had like the handheld games and the home console games. Obviously, Switch is
Resident
both.
Evil, first person, third person.
Exactly. Why can't we have alternating versions of Zelda games? Maybe it's not like the next big one, but we get a sort of smaller spin-off game every now and again that is more of a traditional linear one.
Assassin's Creed.
Like that's smaller and doesn't require the development costs, but still gives people the older nostalgic style.
Do you know what they
I'm
should
totally
do?
down for that.
Just go through their old back catalogue and remaster them.
Just re-release Wind Waker and Twilight Princess as a
Please.
double pack on Switch. Come on.
Or don't do a double pack. Just do remasters of them both and release them one by one.
I mean, I'd pay for them separately. I want them both. Just give it to us, Nintendo. Give it to me, Nintendo. Give it to me.
Give it to him.
I want it.
Gay Bowser will be over. Anyway,
that was the last story for today.
Excellent. I'll save all of my thousands of thoughts about Zelda and
yeah, maybe we'll do an inbox on that at E3. Who knows?
Another thing. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very, very much for watching. This was Swapping Joysticks. This was the last normal, regular Swapping Joysticks of 2023. The next two will be the Swapping Joysticks, not the Gaming Awards, the Swapping Joysticks Awards 2023.
Better than the Gaming Awards, of course.
And then a week later will be our Game of the Year one. So stay tuned. And if you do want to follow them when it's live with other people in the chat and maybe potentially get a free membership, then when it pops up on YouTube saying that it's scheduled, just click on the remind you and you'll be told when it goes live.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell, like and subscribe. But yes, thank you very much. And let us know in the comments if you are watching this on YouTube or if you are on listening on a podcast player. Just go to, well, if you want to, you can reply to us on Twitter, which we are Swap Joysticks, or on Discord, which is discord.gg/biggestbenus. We have a Swapping Joysticks channel on there. And yeah, so feel free to let us know what your favorite games are and things of the year.
Nice.
So, Ed, where can people find you?
You can find me at ed_nights on Twitch and on Twitter.
Excellent. You can find me at Biggest Benus on Twitch, Biggest Benus 1 on Twitter. One day he's going to get rid of that person that hasn't logged on. He promised that.
You say it every week, Ben.
He promised it.
It's not going to happen.
One day I'll stop. But I'm Biggest Benus pretty much everywhere else. And go to swappingjoysticks.com if you want the links to subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they're called, Spotify, or just the RSS feed that you can stick in your podcast player. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Until 2024 for a normal podcast. See you, but we'll see you next week for the Swapping Joysticks Awards 2023.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year.
Ho, ho, ho.